which curriculum is right for your child. So 5 minutes here in the discussion panel arena, choosing the curriculum for your child. Hello.
Let's get all the dads who are here. They're like, my wife's walking around.
Good morning and welcome to the second panel discussion of today at the Schools and Nursery Show here in Dubai. We began this morning talking about, choosing a primary school, just choosing a school generally. And we slightly tipped into the discussion point of curriculum. And curriculum is always the one that gleans an awful lot of interest. So whether you're joining us here physically in the room or whether you're joining us online and you're watching these discussions from home, I'm delighted this morning to welcome a team of 3 experts who are going to talk to us. We've got Steve Giles, who's joining us. We've got Nicholas Castaldi, who's joining us, and also Amy Currian. And between the 3 of them, they pretty much cover most of the curriculum questions that you're going to have, whether we're talking about IB curriculum now, Steve, that you have, but with a history in the UK curriculum. And we sort of have the full range from BTEC courses through to American high school diploma and IB on top. So I'm going to open up the discussion, Steve. It's always that question: which curriculum, why, how do I know, why does it matter, etc. Let's go for it.
Sorry. Thank you, Fiona. I think, to be honest, I'm going to say the same. I'm going to preempt what these people are going to say next to me, but it doesn't really matter which curriculum as long as you're in a happy school. I think being in a happy school is the most important thing. When the curriculum choice really does matter, is right at the end in the sixth form. So when you're looking at diploma program or A levels or the Indian curriculum, I think then it makes a difference. But certainly up until that stage, 1, 2, 3, 4 is the same in all curriculums. A to Z is the same in all curriculums. So for me, I think it's finding a school that's right for you, where your child is happy, where you feel that the teachers support your child the right way. And there's no problem with swapping either. So if you choose IB to start with, and your child is doing IB, there's no problem swapping to the UK, and vice versa. It's exactly the same the other way. So I would say for me, it's choosing the right school for your child. And when it gets to the serious end of academics, right at the end of from sort of year 9 up, then it really does make a difference. But before then, not so much.
Before I move on then, Steve, I'm going to stick with you for a second. Talk to us about the curriculum at Raffles. What curriculum model do you offer? And I'll get each person to talk through their curriculum as well, because they're all different. So Steve, your curriculum and your curriculum model at Raffles.
So I'm a UK curriculum school. So my school follows the UK curriculum from age 3, but we have a nursery as well. But from age 3 all the way to 18. The formal examinations that we do are IGCSEs at age 16 and then A levels at age 18. But we also have the BTEC option as well for those students who are not so much enjoy examinations, who like to learn through coursework and things like that. But we do UK curriculum all the way through. And of course, that's recognized all around the world, not just in the UK for universities. It's recognized all around the world.
Amy, I'm actually going to come to you next, because we'll just keep with that UK curriculum thread for a little bit. Same sort of question, really. Questions that parents might ask in relation to curriculum, and then maybe the diversity of curriculum, even that sits within the British curriculum, that I know that James Wellington offer at Silicon Oasis.
Thank you, Fiona. So to start off with, interestingly, I'm coming to this topic from the other end of the spectrum, which is where the journey ends. So I'm a careers counselor, and I had done a session recently on, is my student admissible to certain universities? So that also becomes a big part of the question, choosing curriculums. So the more important question is, will my student, will my child actually thrive in this curriculum that's offered at this school? And that would be a bigger question to ask. And will they produce the best results that will make them the most admissible in the vast majority of universities? So that's something to also consider. Coming back to the question about the syllabus, that the curriculums that we offer at GEMS Wellington, we start off with the GCSE, so we follow the British curriculum. At post-16, we have 5 strands that are available to our students. So it's pretty much each student making up a journey that is individualized and that's very, very personal. So we have options from the IBDP, the IBCP, the BTEC, as well as the A levels. And the 5th and the very unique tailor custom-made strand that a student can choose is actually to choose a blend of those. They could actually decide that they wanted to do a BTEC plus an A level, and that would be a very unique combination that they could choose to do as well. So a lot of choices. Again, it comes down to that individual decision about what's best for the child.
Okay, so a complete range in terms, particularly when you get to that post-16 phase, and Amy taking it from the end phase of school. Nicholas, you're head of elementary, and your American curriculum with IB on top. Talk to us about, the questions that parents might ask. Why an American curriculum? Does it mean you have to go to America, or what are the benefits of that type of curriculum model?
I think the great thing about what we offer at Collegiate International School is we take the American curriculum, more specifically the New York standards, but we enhance those with the IB International Baccalaureate.
Nicholas, just hold it up.
Oh, sorry, I'll get a bit closer. So we enhance that American curriculum with the International Baccalaureate, the PYP, the MYP, and the DP. So being an American curriculum school does not mean that you're only then having to go to school in America. Of course, we have students going to universities, colleges all around the world, because like was mentioned already, we have a lot of opportunity at the top end of the school. You can get just the general American diploma. We offer advanced placement courses to enhance that. We offer the DP. We offer the careers program, and also a blended approach where you see students taking the American diploma with DP courses and advanced placement courses. And what's really important about that is that idea of choice. Where does your child want to go after their high school education is complete? What do they want to do? We have the pathways for them. So it's a best fit model. We work closely with our students in grade 9, grade 10, 11, and 12 to find out what's your interest, where you're trying to go, to make sure we find the pathway that's best for that and best for them. I really believe that the American program fits really nicely with the international baccalaureates. I think it's a flexible, personalized learning approach that is then enhanced with the inquiry-based and play-based learning to start students' careers off in school. So it's a really great combination that we have offered at Collegiate International School. But again, I do echo Stephen in saying, first before that, find a school that A, you feel your child will be happy in, and B, a school that will allow you, the parents, to be part of the community. You want to be heard, you want to be known, and you want to be able to make sure that your ideas and your concerns and your choices are met.
So what's really difficult, of course, is we completely understand our curriculums and we're immersed in them every day. But if I'm sitting here as a parent and really, what's the difference? Because that's the fundamental question they want to know. What is it? Let's take the British curriculum. What is the British curriculum?
Okay, so I can answer this, the comparison quite well, because I'm a dad, and my daughter did the UK curriculum, and my son did the IB curriculum. I think Fiona's nodding. I said this last year.
Steve and I only meet once a year, and it happens to be on this panel all the time. So it's a great place to catch up after every 12 months. It's a good resurrection.
Yeah. So, so the difference is, again, Nick touched on this as well. It really matters at the end of schooling, really, the later years. So my daughter, who did the UK curriculum, did 3 A levels. She did 3 A levels to get to university. So she chose business, psychology, and art. So she was very much centered on those 3 subjects. She wanted to follow that route. So when she went to university, she was doing business with art. So that was really focused. When my son did the IB, my son had to effectively do 9 examinations. So my son did maths, science, English, psychology, business, Spanish. He also had to do theory of knowledge, extended essay, and creativity and service. So my son, funnily enough, they both ended up in Manchester in the UK. But the route to get there was very different. I'm not gonna sit here and say which was better, which would be better for you, because I don't know your children. And I think Nick touched on that. It depends on your child. So my son, Spanish really for him wasn't a priority. It really wasn't, because he wanted to do business management, but he had to do Spanish to pass the diploma program. And if he'd failed Spanish, he would have failed the diploma program. So I think for me, you have to weigh up your options. You have to understand your child. The UK curriculum, you start with 4 A levels. It's very much learning those 4 subjects in depth, and then you normally will reduce that to 3 at the start of year 13. With the IB, you have to do 6 main subjects, 3 at higher level, 3 at standard level, and you can't reduce that at all. You have to take that right through with the ancillary 3, which is your theory of knowledge, creativity and service, and TOK. It is confusing, and I'm sorry if that's a bit too much information.
No, it's okay. Nicholas, we'll stay on the same question. I've got a follow-on that I'll come back to with everybody. But Nicholas, same question to you, really.
So the American curriculum obviously uses what's called the Common Core Standards. And an interesting thing I find a lot in Dubai that I now believe is a bit of a misnomer is that people will say, well, the American curriculum is easier than the British curriculum. And what I've found is when you get to the end of those key phases, end of grade 5, end of grade 8, 9, whatever, your middle years, end of high school, students have learned all the same stuff that they're meant to. Now, what the changes is, I find the American curriculum, on the lower end, it's pitched a bit similar because gaining that core knowledge for students of the standard is meant to be a bit easier because what it really focuses on is using that as a critical thinking way. It's how are students applying this core thinking. So just being able to add 2 digits by 2 digits is not what we're seeing as successful mastery. It's can they use these in different ways? Can they apply these skills to word problems, to real life application? And it's that critical thinking it really focuses on. Now, of course, for me, we also further enhance that with the IB that really brings in the idea of students growing as learners, not just mastering standards. So in making students who are inquirers, but they develop their research skills, thinking skills, communication skills, social skills, and self-management skills. So it builds that 360 learner who's going to be successful middle school, high school, and future aspirations. So again, really, I find that it's the school that fits your child the best. I would love to say that will be Collegiate International School, but you've got to visit the schools and see where you feel best fit.
Amy, same question for you. You're a careers counsellor and guiding students in terms of the choices that they make for curriculum, for exam board, and indeed for university. Any thoughts to add to this discussion?
Yes, so one of the things that I encourage students to do right from the word go is to look at the entry requirements that is relevant for the university. So this gives them a clear picture of is this the best fit for me? Is this the right path that I'm choosing? For some students, they're very clear. As Steve mentioned, I think that you know these are the 3 subjects that I want to do at my A levels, and they deep dive into that, and they're very clear, and they are very focused. It's a narrow approach, and they're very sure of what they want to do. The IB students, our IB DP students, are considering many options, and they have an absolute pathway to get into even narrow focused courses like medicine, engineering, absolutely fine, but they're choosing the right subjects at the HL or the right subjects at the standard level, and that really helps them. With the CP as well, this is the careers program, you have an option for students to look at what does it look like to just do 2 of the IB subjects at higher level or at standard level, as well as take a career pathway with their BTech courses as well. So the CP is another brilliant option that universities accept, and that's another way to go forward, plus along with the blended curriculum. So I would say it really is a question of doing a little bit of research, taking that onus on yourself, taking that responsibility, because in Dubai, we're actually spoiled for choice. We have so many choices in terms of curriculum options. So if parents as well as students can take that, that decision and do a little bit of that research, it really helps, yes.
So let me pull this right back, because we've talked a lot there about sort of IB and progression and onto university. We've talked a lot about GCSEs and A levels and options and choices. I'm at a schools and nursery show, and I'll focus on the nursery element of it. If I'm a parent of a 5-6-year-old and I'm thinking about school at that bottom end, what are there significant differences between curriculum? What are the differences? Are we looking at content difference? Are we looking at skill difference? And which one is going to be the one? Because it's really confusing, because as you say, in Dubai, we're very lucky. We've got 17 different curriculum choices that parents can access with a sort of 230 or 300 private schools. I mean, it's a huge range. How do I decide? I mean, it's like going into a sweet factory, you know. How do I pick which curriculum, and does it matter? Steve?
So obviously, it's a really good point. There is so much choice. Obviously, in the UK, we use the EYFS framework, which I think the IB models the first 2 years on.
So that's the early years foundation stage, okay? So we're talking about curriculum from age 3, really, up to age 6.
Yeah, that's correct. So at that stage, if you've got children of that age, honestly, I know I'm repeating myself, I don't believe it matters. I really don't believe it matters. You want your child to be happy. So maybe I would suggest you don't just visit one school, you visit 5, 6, 7 schools, go and meet the leaders, meet the teachers. Make sure you go when the schools are open, because I always think it's much better than if you went on a Saturday. When it's shut, it's like you can't see the children, you can't see the teachers. So for me, ask to go during the week so that you can actually see, are the children engaged? What are the class sizes? Is there free flow out into the playground so they can go outside? it's simple things like that that are really, really important for that initial choice. Once you get through the EYFS, obviously then UK curriculum and IB curriculum, slightly different, but again, I'm going to repeat myself. 2 and 2 is 4. The alphabet starts with A and ends in Z. Yes, the IB, you're learning perhaps in a bit more of a discovery, kind of self-managing kind of way, where the UK, it is prescribed a little bit, but the UK also does that as well. So at my school, they still do investigation during lessons in years 1 to 6, and even in the secondary school. It is really a case of, you know, it is pretty much the same, but very different.
Nicholas, is there a nuanced difference with the American curriculum than what we're talking about here with the British and the IB?
No, I think I would echo Steve. You know, in those early years areas, you're trying to get those foundational skills into your students. And yes, the pitch of those might be a bit different, but really it's the phonics skills, the number sense. I would say what you want to do is look at a school that maybe the approach is what you're looking at. We at CIS believe in a really play-based learning approach for the early years students, you know, where they're hands-on. They're encouraged to be curious. They're encouraged to ask questions. They are learning in that way. So students are curiosity for school and engagement in school is started at a very young age. That's very different than maybe a more traditional students in chairs, teacher at the front style of learning. So that approach might be different, but in the end, they're still going to be learning those core foundational skills that make them great learners. I do believe, and I know we keep on repeating ourselves, getting into schools, like Stephen said, when school is on, to see how students are learning. Do your students have time to play during the day, to be inquirers? Does the school environment allow them to go out and use the facilities and the resources that are there? Or is it such a big school that it's kind of limited to them? So in my opinion, yes, you want your kids to be in that play-based structure, that play-based environment where they get to be curious, still supporting their learning. But that's really for you as parents to look at. So I do think what you'll see is a difference, not in what they're learning, but the approach to how they're learning is really what you're looking at in that early years area. And I know that's what I do a lot with my team, is look at that type of learning.
Amy, it's always hard being at the end of the row. I'm going to come to you for the next question first next time, I promise, because these two gentlemen have probably said a lot. But is there anything that you think maybe to add to that?
I was just thinking of my own experiences in terms of my children. So sometimes with the second one especially, they don't really have a choice because they're just following the first one along. And I'm just reflecting back and thinking, did we make a mistake with that? But it was, I mean, the students in all the curriculums, they have strengths that are so unique to that curriculum. And like I said, because I'm looking at it from the end of the journey, they all end up in great universities. So it's that initial bit of learning that provides, is the student really happy? I mean, that's, at the end of the day, do they come back home looking forward to going back to school again? You know, is there a skip in their step when they really think about going back to school? And I think that's more important than you know, deciding on which curriculum at that early of a stage. I would say that, yes.
It's really interesting. We have this same panel discussion and theme every single year. And every single year there is an absolute consensus from every panel I've ever worked with. And that is, particularly in those early years, curriculum doesn't matter. Yes, there are differences as they get older in terms of exam boards, examination styles, and maybe progression routes. But in those early years of school, curriculum actually doesn't matter. What matters is the school environment, a child being happy and a child feeling safe. So before I put it out to the floor, I will just go back through the panel. Amy, I will start with you this time. Just final thoughts that you have about curriculum, questions that parents might have, anything that we haven't touched upon in your view this morning?
Like I said in my previous answer, that a lot of it really comes down to choosing the right curriculum for your child, yes. Exploring what does this curriculum look like at the end of the journey. I think that's really, really important, making that conscious decision, making that intelligent decision. I think that's really, really important. But in addition to that, I would say simple things like your study skills. Just having you know, a good routine for your child, making sure that they are adequately taken care of in terms of their well-being, in terms of their, play cycle, all of those things. Those are really, really important. I feel, in addition to making those decisions about the curriculum, because like we said, looking at it from the university's perspective, pretty much all of these curriculums end them up where they want to go. So it's more a question of achieving the highest with the subjects that you have chosen.
True. Nicholas, any final thoughts?
Yeah, I think we've talked a lot about, finding that school first that's the best fit for your child and your family. But I do encourage parents, once you've found that school, then learn that curriculum. Go to the parent information sessions and workshops where they're explaining the curriculum you're now in. Go to the parent-teacher conference or the back-to-school nights. Know what are your kids learning? How are they learning? Because in Dubai, us being so spoiled, as parents, especially with the young ones, we tend to compare maybe to the other friends we have. And because they may be in different schools with different curriculums, we can get a false sense, is my child ahead, behind? But because the curriculums change a bit, you really want to know, where is your child with what they're meant to be learning in their own personal learning journey? So although we're saying, yes, it's school choice first, find that school your kids will be happy in, you will be part of. Once you're there, be part of the school. Find out about that curriculum, be knowledgeable, and ask those questions you want to ask today to the school. Because when you're in it, then you want to know it. So I do think it's important to know the curriculum once you've chosen that great school that you go, my child will be happy here first.
Cool, thank you. And Steve, final thoughts from you?
Yeah, finally, I think where the other thing you could look at is what else does a school offer? So the extracurricular activities, the enrichment, especially for the little ones, even things like the buses. Does a bus go to your area? Do they finish at 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock? Look at the other things that make a school unique. Look at opportunities that the older students may have. Do they do international residentials? Do they get the chance to become a lifeguard and things like that? So the curriculum is important, but actually what else the school offers is vitally important as well, over and above.
I'm just going to throw it open to the floor. I don't know if anybody has any questions for our panel. You've got curriculum experts sitting in front of you. If you had any burning question that you might want to ask, if you just show your hand and I'll bring a microphone to you. Gosh, they're all very quiet out here today. Okay, all of these nervous hesitancies. Look, we're in such a great position in the School and Nursery Show today that as you walk around this room, you will find schools from a range of different curriculums with a range of different options that might be suitable for your child, whether that's for nurseries, for schools themselves, and considering that progression as you walk the whole way through. I'm delighted that we've been joined again on an annual basis, first of all by Steve, and I hope we'll meet, please God, in 12 months' time, same place. Nicholas, thank you for giving us the American perspective, and Amy, thank you for talking to us about those journeys after school as well. On your behalf, I'd like to thank this panel. Remind you that the next discussion starts in about 15 minutes' time back here again, and then we will be talking about, let me have a look because I've got to put the glasses on, we'll be talking about expectations. What should parents be expecting and looking for, and how are schools in Dubai actually meeting the demands of you, the customer, and you, the parent? So thank you once again to our panel talking about curriculum this morning, and we'll see you back here in 15 minutes.
Okay, thank you very much, everyone.